Imagine if you were born in Scandinavia in the Viking Age. What would your daily life look like? Where would you live? How would you live? What would your family constellation be like? What would you eat? What would you do in the evenings? What would you do if you had spare time? In this episode, I will give you a clue. Most probably you will be born in a small village or just on a farm in a turf house that would be shared with maybe more than one family. Your father would most likely be a farmer or a craftsman, and your mother would be running the household. And maybe you have a younger uncle who would leave during the summers to go in Viking and to return in the fall to share his stories and the goods. On the farm there would be domestic animals like cows, pigs, chickens and horses. Fishing and hunting would provide for the larger part of the food you would eat. Milk, water and mead on festive occasions would be the usual drinks. In the evenings you would gather around the fireplace to listen to stories or poems about heroes. Meanwhile, your mother would be in the background and she would be serving food and drinks. If there were sisters in the family, they would be in the background too. The day after, your mother and other women in the household, if any, they would gather in the domestic sphere and they would think and talk about the stories from the previous evening. And sometimes these stories or poems, usually about heroes, would translate themselves into their work, their weavings. They would be visually told stories instead of orally told stories. If your family was wealthy, maybe your mother would have a bracelet or a ring from Far East, like the ring from the 9th century found on Birka, the ring with the inscription Allah. Maybe a ring that came through peaceful trading or from raiding, we don't know. On Saturdays, you may take a bath. The Old Norse word for Saturday derives from the verb at löga sig, which means to wash oneself. So you would be clean and nice in the evening. And there are findings with tweezers, with combs and with ear scoops. So the Vikings then would keep themselves clean. It's also said that in the Anglo-Saxon chronicles there are hints about women during that time period would prefer the Vikings because they would smell good. The evenings might be spent on playing a board game if you had time. Nevatafl was one of the more famous games. That's a game that demands preciseness and strategy. So you needed to have both time, skills to play that game. And this game was probably played by elder and powerful men just to work on their skills in preciseness and strategy to prepare for warfare, but also for entertainment. Maybe you had a baby brother called Halfdan. Maybe his destiny was to go far east, all the way to Miklagård, and he would take a job in the Varangian Guard, watching over the Sultan's life. Standing in Hagia Sophia, carving runes while waiting for the Sultan. Runes saying that Halfdan was here. So, most probably you would lead an ordinary life on a farm, dealing with daily problems, ordinary problems just like today in regard to family and future. But perhaps, if that was not enough, you would embark on a ship going to the east or to the west, seeking adventures. Adventures to raid, to trade, to explore, or to settle. Thank you again for watching and see you in the next episode in the Viking channel.